You wake up after a crash, but anyone who gets closer than 15 meters to you drops dead instantly. You aren't a monster or a killer. You are simply a black hole, destroying every living thing around you. But there is one woman whose presence deactivates your lethal radius. What are you to each other? Salvation or the very cause of this catastrophe? Today we're breaking down one of the most unusual thrillers about a fatal connection, the film Radius. The opening of the film Radius is a masterclass in creating pure, concentrated suspense. Liam comes to in a ditch after a car accident. He is disoriented, terrified, and doesn't even remember his own name. But amnesia is the least of his problems. Attempting to find help, he stumbles upon the bodies of birds falling straight from the sky and a dead dog by the road. When he enters a roadside diner, he is met with a graveyard silence. The patrons are frozen in unnatural poses, as if life had left them in a single second. There are no grimaces of pain on their faces, only a sudden emptiness in their eyes. At first, Liam, like the viewer, suspects a biological attack or a chemical leak. However, the directors quickly narrow the circle of suspects down to one person, Liam himself. As soon as he approaches a police officer rushing to help, the officer drops dead the moment he crosses an invisible line. This is a brilliant plot device. Our hero is not a savior. He is a walking black hole. His presence within a 15-meter radius instantly snuffs out any biological life. This transforms a classic memory loss plot into a thriller with horror elements where the main monster is the protagonist himself. This places Liam in a monstrous position. By nature, humans are social creatures, but now any contact for him means a death sentence for those around him. We witness a profound psychological breakdown. The protagonist is forced to flee from people, not for his own sake, but for theirs. The entire first act of the film is Liam's attempt to grasp the rules of his curse. He locks himself in a shed, surrounds the area with warning signs, and tries to calculate the scale of his exclusion zone. Visually, this segment emphasizes absolute loneliness. Empty fields, abandoned farms, and an oppressive silence broken only by the crunch of gravel underfoot. Liam is trapped in an invisible bubble that turns him into the most dangerous person on the planet. It is a powerful metaphor for toxicity. Sometimes we cause pain to those around us simply by the fact of our existence, without even realizing the destructive power of our influence. But everything changes when Jane enters his radius, a woman who doesn't just survive near him, but physically deactivates his lethal field. It is her appearance that transforms the story from a struggle for survival into a complex psychological puzzle about fate and responsibility. In this chapter, Radius operates like a perfect thriller mechanism. We are forced to empathize with a man who is objectively a source of death. The most powerful discovery here is that Liam doesn't feel his power. He has no special effects or lightning bolts shooting from his hands. Death within his radius occurs quietly and mundanely, which is far more terrifying than any visual monster. It's fascinating to watch Liam attempt to act rationally in an absolutely irrational situation. This turns the film into a dark exploration of the boundaries of responsibility. Are you guilty of death if you are merely an unwitting conduit for that power? The first part sets the bar high. We see a man who has become a weapon against his own will. Jane's appearance isn't just a plot device. It's the only way for Liam to feel like a human again, rather than a virus. But the price of this piece will turn out to be much higher than either of them can imagine. The second chapter of the story begins with the appearance of Jane, the only being on the planet who doesn't drop dead when approaching Liam. Moreover, her presence creates a safety zone around him. As long as she is nearby, Liam's lethal radius switches off, allowing other people to be in close proximity. This transforms their duo into an unbreakable chemical bond. Liam can now physically no longer exist in society without Jane. This is a crucial, metaphorical layer of the film. we see a perfect illustration of toxic codependency. Liam is literally chained to Jane by his need to not be a killer. For him, she is not just a woman. She is his conscience, his safety fuse, and his only pass into the world of the living. But as the characters attempt to reconstruct the chain of events from that fateful night, their shared past begins to emerge through the fog of amnesia, and this picture is more terrifying than the piles of corpses by the road. The protagonists set out on a journey, attempting to discover who they are and what caused this anomaly. Gradually, it becomes clear that their meeting on the night of the accident was no coincidence. We see the puzzle pieces begin to fall into place. Liam learns about his true identity, and the discovery deals him a crushing blow. It turns out that before the incident, he was not the innocent man he appears to be now. This creates a powerful sense of cognitive dissonance. The present Liam is horrified by the deaths he brings unwittingly, but the past Liam, it turns out, brought death quite deliberately. The film masterfully plays with the theme of the blank slate. Does amnesia make you a different person? Can you be held responsible for the sins of someone you don't even remember? As they search for ground zero of their curse, the tension between them grows. Jane begins to realize that the man currently holding her hand hides something in his past so dark that no safety radius can ever truly conceal it. In the second chapter, Radius transforms into an intellectual labyrinth. The coolest discovery here is the inversion of the superhero cliché. Usually, special people unite to save the world, but here they unite simply to keep the world from dropping dead in their presence. The dynamics between Liam and Jane are pure survival psychology. Liam clings to her like a lifebuoy, but that buoy gets heavier with every kilometer. It's fascinating how the directors use amnesia not as a convenient plot device, but as a way to force a character to confront their own shadow. In the second part, we realize the real threat isn't the mystical field around the hero, but who he was before that field appeared. This is a thriller about the fact that it is impossible to run away from yourself, even with a wiped memory. The third act of Radius takes a sharp turn, transforming a mystical thriller into a chilling detective story. As the protagonists try to find the epicenter of the anomaly, the crash site of the mysterious object that caused their condition, fragments of memory gradually return to them. And this truth turns out to be more terrifying than the invisible death zone. It is revealed that before the crash, Liam was by no means a random bystander or an innocent victim of circumstance. Through flashbacks, we learn the shocking truth. Liam is a serial killer. He had been kidnapping women for years, and Jane, whose real name is Rose, was his final target. On that fateful night, he was transporting her in the trunk of his pickup truck to dispose of her. The accident and the subsequent energy surge didn't just wipe their memories and gift Liam a lethal field. They literally shackled the predator and his victim together with an invisible chain. This is one of the most powerful plot twists in modern cinema. The viewer, who spent 2 acts empathizing with the unfortunate Liam, suddenly realizes they have been sympathizing with a monster. The directors place us in an ethical deadlock. The present Liam sincerely repents for the deaths his Radius causes. But the past Liam sowed death deliberately and with pleasure. Can amnesia serve as an indulgence for past sins? Jane Rose, upon learning the truth, finds herself in a trap that feels like a mockery of fate itself. She is the only one who can restrain Liam's power. If she leaves, Liam will continue to kill everyone around him, despite himself. If she stays, she is forced to remain in lethal proximity to the very man who intended to murder her. This is the concept of Stockholm Syndrome, pushed to the absolute extreme, dictated not by psychology, but by physics. Rose is forced to guard her own killer to save the world from him. The film masterfully ratchets up the tension. We see Liam struggling with his own nature. His new personality is horrified by who he was. But the Radius has seemingly become the physical manifestation of his inner darkness, which is now broken free and taken the form of an exclusion zone. It is a brilliant metaphor. A man who was used to taking lives in secret is now doing so publicly and inevitably. In this chapter, Radius finally drops its masks. The most brilliant aspect here is how the authors subvert the concept of the second chance. Typically, amnesia offers a hero the opportunity to start life with a clean slate. But here, the past catches up with Liam in the most brutal way imaginable. It doesn't just remind him of who he was, it transforms into a physical curse. Liam and Rose are two sides of the same coin that cannot be separated. The death radius isn't just an alien virus. It is a karmic punishment that has locked the killer in a cage of his own crimes and turned his victim into his eternal jailer. Part 3 forces us to contemplate the nature of evil. If a man forgets he is a monster, does he cease to be one? The film says no. Evil has inertia, and the radius is that very inertia that cannot be stopped by simple remorse. This is a powerful psychological construct that leads us toward the most difficult choice in the finale. The finale of Radius is one of the most powerful and ethically complex resolutions in modern thrillers. Liam's self-sacrifice at the end doesn't feel like a standard heroic trope. It is the only logical act of atonement. When he pulls the trigger, he isn't just killing the death zone. He is destroying the monster he was before the accident. This film is a brilliant metaphor for karma. Liam spent his entire life taking lives in secret, hiding his darkness from the world, and fate transformed his inner poison into a physical shell that could no longer be concealed. The 15-meter radius became his personal hell, where he was locked away alone with his sins. Rose's tragedy is no less profound. She became the only person capable of restraining this evil, effectively turning into the lifelong jailer of her own executioner. The ending leaves us with an uncomfortable question. Can you truly change if your past literally kills everything you touch? Liam chose the only way to break this vicious cycle. This is a film about how there is a reckoning for every action. And sometimes the price of that reckoning is everything you have left, including your new clean self. What do you think? Did Liam deserve a chance at a new life after his amnesia? Or was his finale the only rightful outcome? Can a person be forgiven for what they committed in a different life? Share your thoughts in the comments. There's plenty to discuss here. By the way, the full title of the movie and a list of similar psychological puzzles are pinned in the first comment, as usual. Hit the like button if this breakdown made you look at the plot from a different angle, and subscribe to Story Arc Cinema. We continue to peel back the deepest layers of cinema. See you in the next video.